Hello, we are back with part 3. Um, Give me just a moment while I adjust this. Please just bear with me for 1 second. I'm trying to adjust it so y'all can see exactly what I'm doing here. This is part 3 of the sponge filter upgrade. So, trying to get it to where you can see me build it and all that good stuff. Of course, obviously that ain't gonna work. Okay, now we gotta work.
Someone just got her period.
Okay, I guess that's about as good as it's gonna get. All right. This is part 3, and at the end of part 2, I had to take a phone call, so I had to end that video and start a new one here. So this is part 3, and at the end of part 2, I was cutting out the, I call them the bicycle rim tube out of the middle of the basket that went right there, and it had looked like bicycle spokes at the end. Of course, I took my scissors and I cut each bicycle rim out. Okay, you got to cut each one and try to get as close to the edge of the basket inside there as you can to eat on each spoke. Okay, and that will give more room for your air stone to go down into. Okay, so but anyway, I cut it out at the end of part 2 video. Here it is. This is the tube that come out of the middle of the basket there, as I call it. So you want to set that to the side, okay, and grab your air tubing and the top that goes on the very top of the sponge, okay, and you just put it in there, kind of test it, and obviously it's too small, so we're going to cut a little bit off to make it a little bit wider. Okay, and yes, you can cut the tips off of these air stones. Grab you, if you've got a knife set that's got a pair of scissors, you know, that comes with them. They're in like a butcher block, wooden block type of thing. That's what these scissors come out of. They are very strong and very, very, very sharp, and very well they'll cut just about anything, especially hard plastic like this. So, excuse my husband, he's walking through the video, of course. But anyway, yeah, you cut the tip off there. Grab your top again, put it underneath there. And remember, this is the top of it. This is where your air tube is going to go on top. This is where your filter from here down is going to be, along with your basket around this. So always put it underneath there. And that feels like a very good snugly fit right there. That ain't going to go nowhere. That's going to hold pretty good. Alright, so you grab your basket to make sure everything is going to be lined up just right. Make sure your air stone on the bottom lines up in between those bicycle spokes that are left. And just try to make it fit as best as you can. Make them want to cut a little bit more on mine. Helps any. Okay, now it looks like it's going to fit perfect. Alright, so once you hear that snap that you just heard, you know that it's connected correctly. So you grab your base, you take your basket, put it on the bottom here. First, see if it's going to fit. And in this case, I believe it did. Now, sometimes these air stones are a little bit longer than the one I've got here. And if that's the case and you do run across that, there's a little nub right there. See that little spot right there? That we no longer need anymore because we took the tube in the middle of the basket out, see? This actually connects to that. Once they're all connected together, see how that connects to that? So your air just goes straight. Well, once you plug, your air tubing, to the top of this, it goes down through this tubing that's normally on the inside of this basket, and your air will go down, and then it'll go through the sponge filter here, through the sponge, back up through this tube, and out through the top of it, through this tube. Okay, and normally you got your air tubing plugged, you got it going through here, your air tubing, and connected onto this little tab right there. Okay, so now that we no longer need this right here anymore, you can throw that in the trash. So you put this on here, but mine, thank goodness, fits. But if you was to come across an air stone that's a little longer than the one I just put in here, sometimes you do come across those. Take your scissors and just go down in here and grab that sucker and just start cutting. Okay, it's not going to affect anything. All right, it's not going to affect nothing. It just gets that out of the way, so you'll have more room for your air stone, to go down in there. So in this case, it fits. You just hear for that little click you just heard, and that means you know it's all connected correctly. You can always check the bottom of that as well. Kind of give it a little turn if you want to. And that way you know everything's connected. Nothing's blocking anything, keeping anything from connecting correctly or working correctly. So we got that. All right, so now we're going to assemble this back together. So you take pop your top off there. It just pops off. Okay, make sure that's right and it's still correct. You grab your sponge, put it back onto the little basket. Make sure again that this is level with the filter sponge here. Make sure those are both level, so you'll have enough room. Put this back in there. Kind of fill with that air stone on the very bottom to make sure it's going in between those spokes like it's supposed to. And you heard the little click. Kind of go around with it like that with your fingers just to make sure it's all connected together, and it is. And if you want to see, to make sure everything's connected, you can do that. And look at it and see how it is. And you can see the little air stone in there. And again, squeezing these, anything like that, pushing them down. You can roll it up in a ball if you wanted to. It's always going to bounce back to its original shape. Not going to hurt it one bit. Okay? So, you take your air tubing and put it back on top, or you can leave it off and connect it to your tank. Now this one is now ready to go, along with this one that I done previously today. In part 1, you'll see, I don't think I filmed putting it together and doing it like I did this one, but you'll see this one in the part 1 and part 2 videos. So these are both got air stones in them. I have upgraded them, made them from regular classic sponge filters into hot rod sponge filters. And again, these are identical twin filters here, sponge filters, and they are for tanks no larger than 10 gallon. But again, you could put 2 of these in a 10 gallon if you wanted to. You can put 2 of these in a 5-gallon if you wanted to. You can put 1 of these in a 10-gallon. You can put 1 of them in a 5-gallon. You can put 2 or more in bigger tanks such as 20s, 36s, 60s, whatever. But again, like I said in the previous video, that these are the Nano sponge filters, meaning they are for mainly small fish like danios and mollies and tetras and stuff like that. Small fish, cherry barbs, you name it, as long as it's small, it'll work for it. But again, there they are. They're all souped up and ready to go. They will now supply better filtration than what they used to before I touched them and changed them. They will also provide smaller bubbles now, okay? And I'm talking about bubbles of that size right there that you see in this aquarium. Right there. Okay. So, before I souped them up, they were huge bubbles that was coming up to the top. I've got one that's doing that now in my my little 5-gallon grow out cichlid tank. But I left it that way because they love the extra water, the extra, I went blank, I'm sorry. The extra water sensation, the more stimulant the water gets, the more they like it. So I left it in its original state just for that reason, because they love water agitation. That's what I'm trying to say. So, but anyway, that will conclude this video. And check back with me. I'm going to have another video here soon of me actually doing water changes. One of my boys here, as you can see, is acting up. And I'm going to have to catch him and put him in a breeder box or keep him in a big net for 2 weeks or so until he calms down and changes his rating status in this tank, because he's trying to fight everything that he possibly can. He don't want nothing around him, as you can see. So, but anyway, he's not really hurting nobody. He's just wanting to wrestle, trying to warn him, get him out of his area. So, alright, well, that concludes this video. Thank you for watching Tanya's Aquatics and more. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video for more upcoming videos and events. And share this video with your friends and family. It's very informational, and I will provide a lot of information of tropical, freshwater, and African cichlid fish. So just stay tuned. If you'd like to leave a comment, please comment below if you have any questions. I'll be very happy to answer them for you. We will be coming up with live videos as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, to where YouTube will allow us to do live videos. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button so we can start those live videos as soon as possible. And until next time, don't forget again to like and subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day. And keep fishing. Bye-bye.